Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Merrifield's Gardening Advisor. We're so glad you could join us today. Peggy is here, and we've got a great show for you today because, you know, color, summer is full of color, too. Everybody thinks spring color, but summer is chocked full of color. And so last week, David spent some time talking about trees and shrubs. Well, perennials and annuals are just as important, right?
Absolutely. I love a nice blend of all those things, but yes. And we are going to talk predominantly about perennials that are in bloom right now and that will continue to bloom with a little help until fall.
That's right.
Okay.
Think we have a picture to show here? Let's see.
Absolutely. Let's bring it up. And when I said perennials will bloom with a little help, that's through deadheading, through, as this is a picture actually taken from the Well-Tended Perennial Garden, a book that was written, I looked up and I'm amazed how long, in '98 by Tracy DeSabato-Ost. And frankly, I don't think one had been so well done before, and I don't think after, because she was really into taking care of the perennial border. And so here you really have two perennial border, one of which is predominantly shade, and you're seeing a lot of astilbe and hosta with rhododendron behind it. The rhododendron is best if you carefully snip out those seed pods, so that's a type of pruning. Most people, when the hosta finish blooming, like to snip out those long shoots to tidy that up. And a lot of people will leave the astilbe, even though it's dried, it has a function in the garden. And on the other side, you are seeing at the end of that border daylilies, which really is that. They bloom for one day, and it's best if you just walk by with your cup of coffee or whatever and snip off. Yes, enjoy, but snip off those old blooms. So we will talk about pruning as we progress through this program.
And we'll touch on a few annuals as well.
Oh, yes, yes, we will.
Absolutely. Okay, before we get started, a couple quick announcements. One, we will be taking your phone calls later on in the show, so we hope you'll get them, jot your questions down and give us a call later. Our tent sale, the famous Merrifield Garden Center annual tent sale, is up and running at all 3 stores. So come by, take advantage of that. Some absolutely wonderful bargains, 50 to 85% and more off. I mean, we're paying you to take them away. No, just kidding. But we've got gardening supplies, decorating items, Christmas items, some plants, statuary. There's some neat statuary out there. Just all kinds of things, odds and ends. So really take advantage of this. And we keep adding things pretty much daily, I think.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to look through there, out in the tents.
It's even tough for us employees.
That's right. And then also tomorrow on July 14th at our Fair Oaks store, our friends at the Arlington Rose Foundation are going to be having a summer care clinic for rose gardeners. So take advantage of that. That is, again, at our Fair Oaks location from 2 to 4 p.m. So it's going to be identifying and treating your rose and garden problems. So they want you to bring in your rose leaves for diagnosis. It's free. I think there's going to be door prizes. There's going to be light refreshments. So
wow, that
the
sounds
folks,
like fun.
I know, and the folks at the Arlington Rose Foundation are just wonderful, and they know their roses. So this is a perfect opportunity if you have some questions about roses or you just want to get interested in roses. So 2 to 4 tomorrow at our Fair Oaks location. So I think that's all the announcements I have.
All right. Well, it's good to know what's going on.
That's right.
Yeah, let's talk just briefly about a little annual color before we get into the perennials, because it is the annual that takes us through the entire season. Perennials usually have a period of bloom, and annuals will keep going. But here again, some of those annuals need to be, okay, I'm 4 minutes into this program.
That's right. She's starting to get her little coughing. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Something happens when I put all these flowers in my car to bring down here.
It's always
so
like 4 or 6 minutes after the hour.
They need deadheading too. Most of them do. So let's bring up that first picture. Lantana is a marvelous annual, but it does need deadheading. Just down where that flower meets the stem is a good place to cut that off when it forms its seed pods. It comes in such incredible colors too. We're talking about full sun to at least half day of sun, at least, because it likes it hot, but you need a deadhead for two reasons. Actually the berries on this are poisonous, and you don't want a little one to get hold of it.
That's for sure.
In the next picture, you have Fuchsia Gartenmeister. This is a fairly tall plant, 2 feet, maybe 2.5. Without a doubt, this is a flower that brings hummingbirds like no other. I don't have as many in my garden right now, and I haven't seen as many hummingbirds.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
We need some of these.
That's right.
Fuchsia Gartenmeister. And it needs very little deadheading, but some does help. And in the next picture, we have a combination. I don't think you can see this quite as well, but Euphorbia, Diamond Frost, the little white flower that you see, Coleus. There's sun coleus, there's shade coleus, but the sun coleus will grow in a lot of shade. Not dense shade, it might lose its color. And begonias, without a doubt, they're one of the best to carry you through that entire summer season.
Some of the staples of the color garden.
Absolutely, and it's become even more of a staple because we don't have the bedding impatiens this year. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out this year, you know. Now, in the last picture for this particular segment, Debbie, I've mentioned this plant before, but it bears mentioning again.
Absolutely.
Is a type of Rudbeckia. It's not a perennial. It frequently comes back. It often reseeds itself. Is frequently referred to as Gloriosa daisy, comes in different patterns of color, and blooms for the entire season. Can be deadheaded, can also be cut for cut flowers, and it's long lasting. So if you've never grown this plant, by all means come in and put some in the garden, either in containers or in the ground.
All right. Well, that's just a couple of ideas for you. We've got lots more throughout the whole show with lots of great pictures to show too. So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking color today, but particularly color with perennials, and one of your favorites, I know. Well, again,
yes,
Peggy's favorite is whatever plant she's standing in front of, right?
I think so, but just can't seem to do without that color, you know. Even if I had to grow in containers alone, which I do, a lot of containers, largely to trial a lot of these plants, because every year new plants come on the market. No, I can't trial all of these. I've almost got to the point where if I'm going to try one plant, I got to take another one out. You know, whatever. You know, but it's a lot of fun. It's very therapeutic. I know so many people do come in the garden center because this makes us happy. It really does, and it's such a healthy endeavor. You know, I really recommend it for all the above reasons, you know. But let's go through some of this color pretty quickly to introduce you to a few things that you may never have grown. And if we can bring out, yes, we're going to just roll through these pictures as we can. A hardy geranium, as opposed to the annual geranium, the purple one that you see in this. There are many different varieties. It loves full sun, at least a half day of sun. It's incredible. It really is. And after it finishes its major flush of bloom, if you trim it halfway back, it will throw out another flush of bloom. Shown with that in the background is hibiscus, the hardy hibiscus, but we're going to be showing you one on the set shortly. And the little white flower that you see is one that you never have to deadhead. It's only about 2.5 feet tall. I understand from Ramiro at our Fair Oaks location that we're temporarily out of stock, but he'll be getting it next week. So I do want to tell you that. It's invaluable. Calamaris. It has been reclassified. It used to be Asteromia because it's a little flower, it's a tiny flower, but covered in flowers. Incredible plant. But by all means, that geranium, hardy geranium, and you're going to see it up close in the next picture. This is Geranium Roseanne. And the next picture is another intriguing plant. Blooms midsummer, and then the florets fade a little bit and dry off. It's called sea holly or Orangium.
That is an interesting looking plant.
It is. Well, it adds texture to the garden. It's different. By the way, it dries beautifully.
Oh, yes.
One thing that I enjoy about the garden is not just being out there with the flowers, but being able to pick them either for fresh or dried. In the next picture, as we go through here, I'm really emphasizing the nature part of this too, because they play so many roles. Many of the annuals and almost all the perennials draw the things that we enjoy. They draw the butterflies, they draw the bees, they draw the hummingbirds. And Gaillardia has come a long way. Many years ago, I used to think it was a little garish.
Really?
Yeah, but I've changed my team. And of course, they've changed.
Right.
Incredibly beautiful plant. And there's a little butterfly skipper on that plant. I hope I'm identifying all these right. Okay. Next picture. This is another Gaillardia. Isn't it beautiful?
It is beautiful.
You see, I had to change my attitude.
You know what I like about it? It is very vibrant to me, bright and vibrant.
It is, and it's good in groups. 3 to 5 for an accent because it is vibrant. It does stand out. But the new varieties are out of this world. Next picture. Pearl crescent butterfly on Rudbeckia goldstem, which is a plant that's been around forever and is still hard to beat. Again, deadheading, keeps it blooming for a long time, and it makes a great cut flower. Following picture, salvia. There are annual salvias, there are perennial salvias, and there are so many. And they too draw the butterflies. In this particular instance, I probably shouldn't mention, but will, that little white one on it is one that we don't like.
Oh.
I think it's the cabbage butterfly, okay? Which can, its particular caterpillars are ones we don't like.
Right,
because they goof up our cabbage and whatever, you know. Okay, next picture, please. Here is a plant that's underused. It's almost a shrub. Loses its leaves in the wintertime. It's Caryopteris, and it's coming into bloom now and will stay in bloom for quite a period of time. The following plant is one of my H plants.
Oh, yes.
Heliopsis blooms for a very long period of time. Again, wonderful cut flower. Following picture, by the way, it's tall, 3 feet, sometimes more.
Okay.
And the next picture, so it's good middle or back of the border. That's a repeat of the Caryopteris. There we go, Leatris. This is fantastic plant and really draws the birds, the bees, and the butterflies.
And the height on that one?
Height on that one can vary.
Okay.
Varies from 2.5 feet to up to, can be 4 feet tall. But it's a good middle of the border thing because it's a see-through plant.
Right.
And doesn't hide what's behind it. Sun. Now all of these plants that we've talked about recently are full sun, can take some drought once they're established, but they will also accept half-day sun.
Okay.
And I think we have one more that we want to show in this thing.
Yes.
And that, again, is an underused plant. This is Veronica. Many different varieties here. Tones of blue, lavender, shown with a nice contrast there. I believe that is probably one of the Gaillardias, but the purples and the blues show well with the yellows, and this one too can stand some deadheading. All of these plants will bloom for a much longer period of time if you deadhead.
I was going to say the blues intrigue me in the garden because, you know, to find a true blue is difficult, but you know, it gets close.
When we're talking about the salvias, I just put this fun little bunch up here on the hat, which you need in the garden. Okay. This one is, here in this area, an annual salvia. It's truly a beautiful thing. But when you're deadheading, and I use my joist chins because they're great, you just go down and clip next to a leaf, and it just sends out blooms under that leaf and keeps going and going and going. It'll go until frost. Agus Dash, another wonderful plant. The hummingbirds love that one. But look how pretty those colors are together. And we're going to talk more about all these wonderful echinaceas. Oh my goodness, is that exciting.
Absolutely.
Isn't that fun?
Well, hold that thought, because we've got more fun plants and beautiful plants for you in just a couple of minutes. Okay, we're back, and we've got plants to share. That's for sure. You can never run out of plants to talk
with the individual ones, because they, even if you have a small garden, you can have a section where you got to make some choices, okay? But this is the segment that blooms in this season, summer into fall. They're long blooming. So if you have a small segment and you want to have something going on all the time, you choose those perfect ones from spring.
Right.
A few for summer and a few for fall.
So just keep the progression going.
Keep you going, and you do a mix that's pleasing, okay? We're not talking today a lot about that perfect English border, okay? Because you won't find that at my house, you know?
That's right.
and most everything that I've ever done on the show is based upon what I'm doing right now in the garden, you know?
Right.
And it's a joy, it really is. I'm so delighted to have adequate water, but it is also bringing the weeds.
Yes, but
so
it has been nice, the amount of rain we've been getting lately.
It's wonderful. Now, there's a few things out there that have not appreciated it.
Right, that's true.
Okay? and we're seeing those at the Garden Center, okay? The Plant Clinic is a great place to go talk about those things that aren't happy with some of this water. But let's continue our roll of plants that you can come in and buy. The beauty of it is that by coming into the garden centers, you can see these plants in bloom.
Right.
And it's easier to make those choices. And you can play one against the other. You can say, okay, I like this Rudbeckia. I like this Gaillardia. Ooh, I like the purple of that. And do your little grouping there, okay? And know, is that what you really enjoy?
Right.
Also, the heights of these plants, because they vary. And everybody should do what pleases them, but I'm not totally into really low at the front, really middle at the bit. I like it mixed a bit. Here is a good mixer. Perovskia. It's almost shrub-like. There are very few true blues, but it's close. It's a bluish purple, this particular one. It too can get to 3 feet tall. But it is airy, which we often refer to good plants to plant in the center of the border to break up that layered short, mid, tall, okay? Because it doesn't hide what's behind it. It plays really well with its neighbors. And in the next picture, you see another one that plays pretty well with the neighbors. Eupatorium. It's a native plant, but of course they've played around with the natives and they've come up with some shorter ones. Here again, pruning. You could actually, maybe a little bit late right now, trim back by 1/3 and control the height of these, because some of them can go 6 feet. But oh my goodness, it's a wonderful flower for the back of the border. And the next screen, please. Oh, dependables, Rudbeckia goldstrom.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a wonderful plant, but I assure you, if you cut the seed heads off now, it will bloom for a longer period of time. Then, toward the last, you leave these seed heads up, and the birds come. it's just delightful to watch the birds pecking at the seed heads of these various plants. And talking about a major see-through plant, that's the lower growing eupatorium that you see as a haze in front of that.
There's the bright, the nice color combinations that I like.
It is.
Yeah.
I love the purples and the yellows together. That's a favorite of mine anyway. Next picture, please. An underused plant, Verbena bonariensis, as my Maggie says.
I was going to say, what does Maggie call it?
That's Maggie's flower. Yes. It's our verbena
on a stick.
Because it's tall. And it's a see-through plant. And it does seed, by the way. But you know, I have no objection to those things that seed that are easy to pull up. And it is a joy. And of course, we've got the swallowtail on that. Now, just to mention a couple of plants quickly that will do for shade that you need to watch out for. I really concentrated on sun this week, Debbie. Primarily because the last couple of times I've been on, it's been totally shade.
I was going to say, you've been doing a lot with shade.
Yeah. So the next one is Begonia grandis. This is a perennial begonia. It really prefers afternoon shade. And it is coming into bloom soon. But not only are the blooms beautiful, but the leaves are beautiful, and it's played there with Hakanakaloa, which this is a spot in my garden that I enjoy every year. I have to stroll through the garden to enjoy it because it's changing. And one thing comes in and another one goes out.
Is this up by the road?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes, it is. Debbie knows my garden as well as I do. We film so much in it. And the next picture is again one that prefers afternoon shade, Tricertis. And there's different varieties of that. And it's kind of a see-through plant too, and therefore one that you can use in the middle of the border or anywhere in the woodland. I did put the next picture in is a hydrangea that's coming into bloom now in my garden. I can't be without the various varieties of hydrangea.
That is magnificent.
I've been showing you the mop head type hydrangeas, but this one is hydrangea paniculata, and paniculatas grow on new growth, and so therefore they bloom really well. And I think this is a border plant. This is a great background for a lot of perennials or other annual color, and included in that, because you can't exclude the shrubs and the trees from this, is the crepe myrtle. So with those two plants you are absolutely assured of color. The following picture again is the background for the if we can move on to the next one, it'll show you magnolia. That is another invaluable plant. Now I have the southern magnolia because I have the space for it.
Right.
But this one is the smaller growing varieties. It's called Little Jim. The blooms are gorgeous. They're very fragrant. It's wonderful. But is the background for a garden, my garden, that you're going to see again. But let's go quickly into the next picture because this is what is in front of that, where it gets sunshine. You'll see ornamental grasses. Cosmopolitan is the variegated one. I love that grass. In front of it, you'll see some of the Gloriosa daisies. And another plant that's underused, which is Helenium. Beautiful orangey plant. And let's go out of this particular one with the agastache.
Okay.
Another wonderful, wonderful butterfly attractor.
Oh, yeah.
Agastache.
And Peggy has several more plants to show today, and then in our next two segments we'll take your phone call, so be ready for that. But you've got more to show.
And coming in, we came in as a bump shot on that crepe myrtle. Now's the time to really see what those crepe myrtle will do. And this wonderful world that we live in now has given us so many different varieties, you know, and you just got to get out there and try them.
Well, and
but there's little ones, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 10 feet, 20 feet.
I was just about to say heights really come into play with crepe myrtle.
Yeah.
But you made a great point in our last segment about thinking about the heights, because people will come in and they'll plant something and then they'll plant something else and not realize the height difference, and you want to think about that.
Absolutely, it is an important play in the garden. But let's continue with our roll through these plants and what you can use and maybe choices that you have to make.
That's right.
You know,
New choices.
Yeah. Echinacea. This is a native plant, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I love the native varieties, and this one's close, but not exactly the native, okay? We get a lot of hybridization, and I'm not a purist. I love these hybrids too. But I still love the pinks, and they seed, and I enjoy that. But behind it is an older plant with new varieties too, Shasta Daisy. And you need to deadhead on both of these plants to really keep them at peak. There is actually just a bit of an ornamental grass that really plays with that. So ornamental grasses, this is getting to be their prime time too. Yes. And that particular one has a lovely seed head. It's called Carly Rose. I like the name too.
Oh, I bet you do.
Yeah, and in the following plant is actually taken at my home a couple of years ago. This is the small border next to the road, and so I like to have as much of a play through the season as possible, so that it shows well, you know. And the variegated plant is one again that's new kid on the block. There are a lot of caryopteras. We saw some earlier. This one's a variegated foliage, so it has not just the bloom, but the foliage that's interesting. And that is the variegation, playing with the white of the Nicotiana and phlox, the summer phlox. And there are a lot of those phlox that are mildew-free. This particular weather has not been kind with mildew, okay? If a plant is susceptible, it's going to get it right now. But I don't let it worry me. I usually just cut it back and go on with the program. But you can see still another grass that is an annual here. But it is so worth every penny. Its performance is incredible, really. It's Pennisetum rubrum, and it is an annual. The following picture is going back to that long border that is at my home, and as I said, has something going on in every season, from the early bulbs to the early iris, the bearded iris.
Oh, your neighbors have a treat, that's for
sure. I wish they'd come and help me with it. Need to talk to them about that.
That's right. Put a little hint here or there.
You probably saw this picture 3 or 4 weeks ago when the lavender was totally in bloom. Wonderful. I just can't be without lavender. But lavender has got to have precise drainage. Got to be good soil. And let's come back to me for a minute. I put that picture in there because every one of the plants that are in there requires some heavy deadheading. I brought in... Would
you like me to hold that for you?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we'll both get dirty.
There you go.
Again, my Joyce Gins are my pruners. And let's pretend that this lavender has totally finished blooming. This is exactly how I deadhead lavender. Taking just a little bit of the tip of the foliage right now, I go snip, and that's so easy.
She did it. She did.
Now what's going to happen is new growth is going to come out just below here, and that will bloom in the fall. So you're going to get 2 flushes of bloom from here. And if you cut this before it's finished, it dries so well, and it's so fragrant. Oh my. Well, now the rest of this hasn't bloomed, so unless you want it to be one-sided, you'll go back in here and go like so.
That's right.
And the rest of it too,
now,
please.
Now I'm really smelling it.
Yes.
That wave, that's so nice.
It's incredible. Well, let's run quickly through these because I do want to share. So we're not going to talk a whole lot about each one of these, but just to share a little. Next picture is butterfly weed. Can't be without it. Asclepias. And
You have the picture? There we
it's
go.
actually showing you with seed pods. Okay, if this has done it, go in and do to this plant exactly what I did with the lavender plant, and it will bloom again. At the end of the season, I leave these seed heads because guess what? In the next picture, it's almost like art.
Right.
It's
You are
so
right
beautiful.
about that.
And the grandchildren love to blow them in the wind, okay? So I have a lot of Asclepias. Following picture.
You get to see some of our visitors here.
The bonus. These are the bonus of the garden. You've got praying mantis. Next picture on the echinacea, the silver bordered fritillary. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, yeah.
Following picture on the, I think it's the helianthus, wonderful bee. And don't be afraid of the bees. They are wonderful pollinators. And then hopefully you're going to have more of the next picture, which is the hummingbird. Oh, isn't it sweet? This was a baby, and he sat still. The mamas and the papas don't sit still.
That's for sure.
The next picture, oh, this is the fun of gardening.
Attract
On
them
my
and keep
front porch, there's a little decorative birdhouse. And guess what? Mama Wren is tiny enough to get into the little hole. Now, we aren't talking about a big thing here. And that's one of the babies that I was able to get up close. And a good thing, because they flew the coop the next
Did
day.
they?
Following
They had been discovered. They didn't want to be around anymore.
This is the tiny little birdhouse, okay? And to Debbie, I couldn't resist going in the next picture, okay? Because this was taken on the 4th of July, and Timothy found this little frog. So, little frogs, do we have that little picture?
I don't know, maybe we don't.
Maybe we don't.
Is our frog there?
Well,
No,
well,
we
you
don't
know
have
what?
the frog. You have to imagine the frog.
No, there's a reason why we didn't have the frog. Because James White's going to be talking about water gardening next week, and we're going to use the frog.
Okay, there you go. Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to take your phone calls. So give us a call, 703-387-1046. We'll love to talk to you in just a couple of minutes.
This is an incredible plant. I haven't had a chance to talk about it. Got to take that moment now. Hardy hibiscus. And this little guy is a new kid on the block.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
It's so new, I'd have to look down here at the tag to see what the name of it is.
And Peggy was saying, I can't get it too close. It's as big as my head.
That's right. It's wonderful, but this is the hardy variety. They will grow in your garden. Put them in the middle of the border, and they'll just make everything
Absolutely.
shine. Bloom
Great,
for
great,
6
great.
weeks, you know. What can you just? It's wonderful.
You know, I really wish you'd get more excited about plants. I really do. Well, it's time for phone calls. 703-387-1046 is our number here. And Peggy, our first caller is Virginia, who's calling from Stafford. Hi, Virginia.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good
Great,
morning.
and you?
Good morning.
What can we do for you today?
I have a question. I planted echinacea and also Shasta daisies last year when I redid one of my beds. They're planted nearby some knockout roses. I was going for some good color around the front of the house and little work.
Yes.
The Shasta daisies have exploded.
Yes.
I had no idea they would get quite so big.
Yes.
I wanted to know your recommendation. Should I thin them out now, or should I kind of let them do their thing since the bees are happy and wait until fall?
Absolutely. Enjoy those right now and wait until fall to divide them or move them over if they're hiding your rows. I would not get into them right now. Just go ahead and enjoy it. Otherwise, you'll spoil the bloom for this season and won't have it again until next year.
Okay,
So
perfect.
hold off. Okay. Fall's a good time to do that anyway.
Thanks so
Okay.
much for the call.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Enjoy
You
those
too.
plants.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Okay, let's see. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. Is it DeMarie?
Demery.
All right. Calling from Arlington. How are you?
Yes, hi. I'm great. How are you?
Good.
I love your show.
Thank you.
you.
I have a question about monkey flower.
Yes.
And it bloomed really beautifully for several months, and now it's getting a little bit brown. I was told that it loves water, but maybe a little too much love this summer.
A little too much love. Okay, let's go back and clarify, because this is the reason we have the complicated, to many people, even some of us in the industry, Latin names, because there are so many common names. Being a Southerner originally, still I guess Virginia. Monkey flower is Liriope?
No, it's Mimulus ringens.
Okay, it's a Mimulus. Okay, see, it's a good thing I asked, isn't it? Because I don't think about it as monkey flower. I think it's water. Yeah, they like some water, but they don't like as much water.
They don't like to drown.
As much water, no. Is it in the container or in the ground?
It's in the ground.
Okay.
Would it help if I cut it back?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. But you know, it's the roots that's suffering.
Okay.
From too much water. And as I said, many things are thriving this year, but a few are not, because ground that normally in July is on the dry side is far from dry right now, and you're not getting any complaints out of me, because I'll take it. With right. All the green that I have now is wonderful. I just can't recall all the background being so green in my house.
It's like early spring again.
Well, it's that pie that I live in, where the rain has always gone
right.
this way or gone this way.
I don't know why.
And I'm high and dry. So, yes, we are suffering from some of those plants that don't like to be waterlogged, and I strongly suspect that's what's going on. The only thing you could do would be lift it, add some organic material to the soil, be sure the drainage is a little bit better, and replant it.
Okay, I'll give that a try.
Try that. Since
I'll
it's an annual, okay? I wouldn't tell you to go dig a shrub particularly and do that, but yeah.
Okay.
Or ditch the water away from it, one or the other.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
It's amazing what we gardeners do.
All right, I'll get creative. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's see. Karen is calling from Gaithersburg, Maryland. Hi, Karen.
Good morning.
Hi there. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Thank you.
So what my issue is I have a garden next to my front porch, which is mostly shade. It gets morning sun, but by noon or 1 o'clock, that's the end of the sun for the day. And in that plot, I have some wild ginger, and it has turned brown, or a lot of it has turned brown. I actually had I had a couple Lenten roses in that same area, and one of them just keeled over and died. So I'm wondering if I have something you can help me figure out.
Well, it's difficult to really kill the Lenten rose, particularly orientalis. They're very hardy. They're very tolerant once they're established of drought and a small amount of water. Now, what might kill it again, if this is a recent thing, is if that plot of your ground is holding too much water. Could be the case with the wild ginger. Also, they like water, but they like it to drain away from their feet and from their root system.
Okay.
Now, some of the ginger is evergreen and some is not. And ginger is a very slow-growing, slow-to-establish plant, okay?
Yes, this is its second year.
And I have some also, and it is slow to get established. But I have a feeling that you also have some waterlogged soil. Check it out.
So what should I do? Should I cut off the leaves that are
you might,
brown,
again,
or?
you might try lifting it and adding some soil, mounding it that will drain well, and replant it.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
Karen,
you.
give it a try, honey.
Thanks a lot.
Take care. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
Thanks. We're going to take a quick break and come back with more of your questions. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This hour always flies by. We are taking your phone calls. And Peggy's, I don't know what she's doing over here with plants, but she's...
There's a little togetherness going on over here.
Gotta watch you like a hawk, I tell you. Okay, our next caller is Joseph, who's calling from Accokeek, Maryland. Are you there, Joseph?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
How you all doing? I love your show.
Thank
I catch it every Saturday morning.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
I have a plant. I kind of got on late this morning, just as you were showing your plants this morning. I came on a little after 8. There was a plant. I have a plant in my yard that's purple, and it goes straight up like a stick. And the bees, the black type bees, bumblebees, I think it is, they be on it, and the purple, once they flock on it, purple disappear, but then it comes back. I'm just wondering what kind of plant that is. But when you first came on this morning, you had a purple plant, and I caught the tail end of it. It looked like the one I have.
I suspect it's Liatris, Liatris. If it's spikes of the purple, Liatris. It's a tall spike with a lot of tiny purple blooms on it. And it really is an appealing plant for pollination because the bees get on it and they get all kinds of pollen and fly away. I suspect that's what you've got, Joseph.
Now, I did hear you say this morning that the bees won't bother you.
Well, now let me go back and clarify that. Generally speaking, the bees, the bumblebees particularly, are pretty benign, okay? The honeybees, a little more so. Generally speaking, the bees are not aggressive. They usually only sting when they're stepped on or bothered in some such way. They will not go after you. But the wasps and many of that type of insect will go after you. So I think that there's more fear of bees than there should be, okay?
Okay,
And
you
they
all had me up every Saturday morning and had me doing a beautiful garden after a while.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph.
Thanks. Take care. Okay, let's see. Veronica is calling from Manassas. We've been talking about Veronica all morning, haven't we? How are you?
How are you?
Great. And you?
Good, great. Thank you. Love your show. Love your stores.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions for you. Bleeding hearts. I have a shade garden. I have a lot of astilbe, hostas, and gorgeous bleeding hearts. But the problem is that once the bleeding hearts bloom and the leaves yellow, then I have this space with nothing in it. Is there something that I can plant there that will come up kind of after the bleeding hearts come up?
You know, the bleeding heart needs their space, and they are invaluable, okay? It's the spectabilis, that particular one, bleeding heart, that disappears. There are others that will continue on, but they're not the same. They don't bloom the same. They don't look the same. Generally speaking, I think annuals are your best bet to fill that space, you know.
Okay.
To tuck in a few, perhaps some begonias, some caladium foliage. Whoa, caladiums are wonderful. And you know, I do have to say, we, particularly at Merrifield Garden Center, know that this season is upon us and that people do have issues and they need the fresh plants. They're beautiful fresh caladiums. They're beautiful fresh begonias. There's so many things that if you need that spot that's a filler, Veronica, like you do, to keep from having a bare spot, very carefully tuck in, not right where that heart of that plant is, but the edge of it, because you don't want to destroy your perennial. But annuals are a great way to fill in and give you not always color in flower, but maybe like a caladium.
Now, can I cut down once the leaves turn yellow on the bleeding heart?
You can take it away.
Okay. And then one more question. You're going to laugh because everybody tells me this is the easiest plant, and I've had no luck. Hydrangeas. Okay. I've tried to grow them in pots, and they grow beautifully, but they don't bloom. I've put them in my yard. They don't bloom. What am I doing wrong?
That's a $64 question. And they are easy if they're not easy.
Okay.
There can be issues, okay? I don't think they're the best container plant in the whole wide world, okay?
Okay.
Personally. Number one, there's not much there in the wintertime. But if it's your only way to garden, I might certainly try it that way. They need some sunshine to bloom well, And if by the endless summer that blooms on old and new wood, because a lot of the old-fashioned ones bloom on old wood, and if frost gets it, then you're lost for that season. So go in and talk about the different varieties that are available. I've been well satisfied with Endless Summer.
Okay. I hate to interrupt, but they're cutting us off here. So thanks so much for your phone call. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Yes. Next week, you have a guest on next week.
Absolutely. James White, who is a water garden person. Oh, my goodness.
It's a cooling time of year.
He loves it, and he's going to share his expertise.
Great. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.